Hi, and welcome to today's 4-Minute Mark. We're still in Mark chapter 15. We read yesterday about the curtain of the temple being ripped from top to bottom, and that was showing us that when Jesus died, the entrance to God's presence is now open to everyone. The temple and the curtain was gone, so there was no longer a separation between the Holy of Holies and the common people. So we have access to God because of the death of Jesus Christ. Okay, and we saw that the centurion cried out and said, "Surely this man was the Son of God." Another way to translate from the Greek was, "Surely this man was a son of God," or even a son of the gods, if you will. So perhaps this centurion was expressing true faith, saying, "I recognize that he is everything the Jews said he wasn't. I recognize that he is actually from the Jewish God. I recognize that." Or it could be the centurion is just saying, "I know that he's the son of a god somewhere, one of our many gods, but I know that there's something divine in him." Whether the centurion is converting here or just making an observation, it's interesting to note that the centurion is saying, Jesus is not like all the other criminals that I've seen. There's something different about him. Remember, a centurion basically would have seen lots of executions. And he says, Jesus was not just a man. There was something divine about him, about the way he handled his death, about the things that he said, about the circumstances, that this isn't a common criminal. So maybe the centurion was expressing true faith. Maybe it was a step toward faith. But he is acknowledging, of course, what the Jewish leaders did not acknowledge. All right, and then we have verses 40 and 41. Some women were watching from a distance. Among them were Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James the younger, and of Joseph, and Salome. In Galilee, these women had followed him and cared for his needs. Many other women who had come up with him to Jerusalem were also there. The scriptures don't mention these women a whole lot, but once in a while they do. Mark is saying here about them. Luke mentions them. There was a group of women who traveled with the disciples who provided for Jesus' needs. So Jesus, as he went from village to village, town to town, city to city, was out in the wilderness. It wasn't that he was going to take stones and turn them into bread, or that he was always multiplying loaves and fishes. Instead, there were people who actually supported him, just as our missionaries are supported today. And it's interesting when you think about the women who followed Jesus. There's a group of women traveling with a group of men, and yet John says in 1 John that they never saw any darkness in Jesus whatsoever. There was never anything sexual, never any creepy things going around, like we would suspect today if they said, there's a bunch of guys traveling around the country and all these women are following them, meeting their needs. And we'd all go, oh, there was never any hint of that here. These women were there at the cross. We know that John was at the cross. We're not sure about some of the other disciples, but these women were at the cross. They stayed loyal to Jesus even when some of the disciples fled. So there they are at the crucifixion of Jesus. All right, we'll get into some more tomorrow. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.